but overall in year 5.
For sure, and I think as we take a look at this final circle, Shopify Rebellion, you know, there's always talk about Falcons, talk about 100 Thieves. Everyone's like, I'm sure Shopify Rebellion is sat there like, wait a minute, like, we're still a team who's going to come in and dominate here. We might not be as brand new and flashy as these teams. However, we're still here, and we're still here to take over. Maybe Champs wasn't the performance they would have wanted, but they've shown in game number 1 here that all the pieces seem to be working. And I think the value of a good IGL is really being shown here in year 5 as well. It's almost as if you find a good IGL and you're looking, even if you're one of the best fraggers in the world, you need that leadership, and MT quite simple.
As we saw Ash's banned, and instead we got the Wraith approach and a couple of other things. And I think that meant that teams weren't easily as able to surpass another squad on their rotation. So we saw a few more fights in the chokes, and instead teams had to really work for their positions rather than just being able to portal up to them, for example. So it was a very different game than game 1, but it's new names. It's names that weren't necessarily talked about at the start of the show that are showing up here, and I think that's what we expect this season. We've said a couple of times, like, we're going into the unknown a little bit. We've got the open where we're gonna have 100+ teams that are going to be there, and we need to start thinking about some of these new names getting the chance to be in the spotlight.
We also hopefully get to see the POV of the Kunai finishing things off, which is the best way to finish any game of Apex.
Players get ready for this next game. That Kraber shot from Blinkster Oblivion. Jelly, fun FPS. That moment right there, 210, 168, and then a 128. Dan, it just doesn't really get better than that. That is the perfect version of a Kraber approach, and it was amazing to see Blinkster do that. Mark asked a very big question: are they able to stand this Jelly? Can they handle it? And I think at the end of the day, the answer was no.
Yes, sadly not. And then we saw the end game come through here and how that was affected by the one solo rat that was still alive. And you know, you've always got to keep tabs of the rat, and Oblivion did have eyes on him, and I think that really helped them in the end because they were aware. They forced him over towards VDR, and then sadly that one kill that Panic was able to get, that one knock, really affected this end game. And I do think Oblivion confidence builder they were after. Now I'm very curious to see this final circle, because I want to see who it was who made the push. I believe it was Dropped, who decided to take advantage of maybe a blind spot on the side of 100 Thieves. So Furia go down, 100 Thieves, Verhulst, yeah, and look at this push from Dropped. A blind spot takes Verhulst out from the right, and that just allowed this play to happen where it ended up as a 1v1. Now we can see this from Sykes' point of view instead of Jen Burton's, and he played these shields magically.
Fascinating that both players had white knockdown shields to play around as well. You can see Sykes actually uses the 100 Thieves knockdown. Take a look back on our final circle from game 5.
Just so many massive fights, so many engagements that are taken by teams because they're either forced to because of the lack of legends to support the way they would like to play, or just because they know that if they don't take that fight and win, they're gonna have such little effort to get in later. It's just such a difficult situation to try and be in here. Do you take the fight? Do you try and survive? Otherwise, you might not get the points that you so desperately need. And we watched the final moments of this previous game here where Hus were just kind of commanding the space. And yes, even though in the end it looked comfortable, it was the fights that were won previously by Hus that gave them